Welcome to Panels in Progress, a channel about making comics and learning through the process. I'm Chris, and today's episode is all about our favorite topic, characters. Last episode, we talked about story, the importance of story, and I've kind of been hinting at that throughout the last couple episodes of the podcast. But today, I want to get to my favorite part, which is characters. And before we actually begin, before we dive in deep, let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite character and why? And if they're a villain, what makes you respect that character even though they're a villain? Really interested to see what you guys have to say about that. So to begin, I want to tell you guys what I'm using as a reference when it comes to characters and creating better stories. I've been reading John Truby's The Anatomy of Storytelling, and it is literally changing how I think about building stories, building characters. I'm only on chapter 4, which is the character chapter. It's making me rethink a lot of the decisions I'm making while creating characters, and I want to share what I'm learning with you. So let's get the obvious out of the way. When we talk about building characters, we're not just talking about design, we're talking about character depth. Now, don't get me wrong, we make comics, we make manga, we're in a visual media. So that means that character design is super important because every comic begins with a visual. Every comic has a visual purpose. That's how we actually tell the story. But I don't care how cool your designs are, how badass your characters look. If there's nothing keeping the reader interested in that character, that badass design isn't going to make them keep reading. And doesn't the same go for any media that we consume? Think about video games. Yeah, the game could have all the flair, all the design, and all the most interesting world building that could ever exist. But if you're not engaged into what is happening, those designs don't matter. Bad game mechanics will kill a game faster than bad design will. Now, if it's bad design and bad game mechanics, then that's a whole nother story, but I digress. I'm getting off topic already. But yeah, let's dig in. Characters. Design versus character depth. I mean, let's think about the characters that we know the best. Batman has a very iconic design, but what makes him last is his wound, is what carries his story, his grief, his obsession, his control, the justice, the trauma. Let's use Naruto, also a very recognizable character. But what people connect with is his loneliness, his stubbornness, his need to be acknowledged, and his refusal to give up. Spider-Man's uniform, or the spider suit, the Spidey suit, is also another iconic design, but it's more, Peter Parker's story is more than just that suit. He has the guilt, the responsibility, the insecurity. He's got humor, but he's also dealing with the responsibilities and demands of being a superhero and a regular person. And Miles, I can add him into this situation as well. Miles Morales is becoming iconic because mostly the movies, but he is redefining what it means to wear the mask, what it means to be a hero. He's finding his own path, and people are engaged with that aspect of the story. It's different. It's new. And I know that as artists, we can't wait to draw our characters. We can't wait to design the cool outfit, the cool hair, the magical abilities that they're going to have, their sword, their weapon, whatever the case may be. But sometimes, and this is just a suggestion, I think starting with building the character in words works better for character design. When you start with just the words of the and you know more about the character you're building, the design of that character comes a lot easier because you're not having to think on the go. How do you guys do it? Do you start with the art first, or do you start with the character description and the story and then create the characters? I'm interested to know. I tend to have a general idea, like a stand-in character, and then as I create the story, as I decide what elements of the story are going to be important, I allow that narrative to help me design/draw the character. But we're still just talking about the surface. Let's get a little deeper into what makes a character's framework stronger. A strong character has something driving them forward. They have something they need, something they want, an ultimate goal, if you will. They have something unresolved or broken within them, and then the story is actually going to put pressure on those weaknesses. Instead of thinking, what would make my character look cool, try asking, what do they want? What do they actually need? What is the story forcing them to face? These three things give the character direction, emotional depth, and conflict. Let's start with, what does the character want? Starting with the external goal gives the story momentum. It gives our story and our character a direction to head towards. The want, or the desire, this is the surface level. This is what the top layer of the story is about, top layer of what the character wants. It could be to win, it could be to survive, it could be to find something, become something, protect someone, belong, escape. This is just the surface part of what the character wants. What is their top desire? The character's desire is what they want. It gives them a good starting point, whereas the plot is going to move them in that direction of the story. Let's use Naruto for example, since most have probably either read or watched the anime. On the surface, Naruto wants to become Hokage. The dream gives the story a clear direction from the beginning. He wants recognition, he wants respect, he wants people to finally see him as someone important instead of treating him like an outcast. But the external goal also points to something deeper. So this is where we actually separate want from need. What does the character need? The want is usually external. It's what everyone sees from the outside. But the need of the character, this is an internal struggle, an internal battle. And that could be different as well. The character might need to accept help, to stop chasing approval, face guilt, let go of control. They might need to trust people, believe that they matter or they're important. They might need to stop running from who they are. They might need something to believe in. Like, the need is something that they're not going to explicitly say or know that they need it. It's just something that's going to add layers and definition to your character, layers and details to your character. Going back to the Naruto example, he wants to become Hokage, but underneath that, what he really needs is connection. He needs to feel accepted. He needs to know he has value beyond how the village sees him. He is not just chasing a title, he's chasing the feeling of finally belonging somewhere. And that actually makes his story even more powerful, because it's not just about chasing a title. It's not just about a position in society. It's about not feeling alone. It's about belonging, which is a deeper meaning that I think all of us can relate to. All of us want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. Now, the next step would be, what pressure does the story put on them? This is where we get all the conflict of the story. The story shouldn't just throw random obstacles and random problems at our main character. The story's obstacles and problems should be directly connected to what is going to reveal the weakness or the strengths of our main character. And you can probably ask yourself, what situation forces this character to change? What opponent challenges what they believe? What relationship exposes their flaw? What choice reveals who they really are? For Naruto, the story keeps testing him through loneliness, rejection, rivalry, friendship, failure and responsibility. He wants to be acknowledged, but the story forces him to learn what real connection actually means. He has to build bonds. He has to protect people. He has to understand pain in others, not just his own pain. This is why conflict is very important. It's the pressure cooker for our character. It's what's going to make them make decisions, make them change, make them grow, make them question their own reality as far as their own beliefs, or question the world around them. You don't need to know every single little detail about them, like when they stubbed their toe and they were 2 years old, what happened. Like, unless that has something to do with the story you're trying to tell, you don't need to know that. The 3 things you definitely want to know is what they want, what they need, and what the story is forcing them to face. Continuing with our Naruto example, he wants to become Hokage. He needs connection and acceptance, and the story pressures him through rejection, rivalry, friendship, loss, and responsibility. This is what makes him more than just a loud and obnoxious kid. We see his goals, we see his wounds, and we see how they all connect and how the challenges he faces are helping him grow to be a better person, or at least a better version of himself. Now, once you get through building your main character and understanding those 3 things, next let's talk about the side characters. Side characters are equally as important as your main character, and your side characters actually have a job. They are not just comic relief. They're not just there to fill the scene because they also have cool designs or cool backstories. The side characters have a very important part to play in the story because they are going to help the main character understand themselves. The 3 purposes of a side character: reveal the main character, challenge the main character, and show an alternate path of the main character. And if you're making side characters and you have no idea what their purpose is, or their only purpose is to point the way or say some throwaway dialogue, then that character probably isn't fulfilling their purpose, and you can use them in a better way. There's sometimes that you might have 2 side characters that are potentially playing the same role, and in that case you kind of want to push those ideas together to create just one side character. You don't want useless characters. You want to try to avoid making useless characters that are just there for the sake of being there. So one of the main purposes of a side character is to reveal more about the main character. Sometimes the fact that they exist is just to talk to the main character, to get into the main character's head, and to show the audience more about that character themselves. For Naruto, Iruka helps reveal Naruto's emotional wound. Without Iruka, Naruto could easily have just seemed loud, reckless, desperate for attention, but through Iruka, we see that Naruto is lonely. We see that he wants to be acknowledged. We see that he needs someone to look at him and see a person, not just a thing sealed inside him. So Iruka's role is not just teacher, he helps us understand why Naruto's dream matters emotionally. The next thing side characters can do is challenge the main character. Now, challenging the main character is not necessarily a direct battle. It could be, but it could also be that they are challenging the main character's motivations, the way they think, their beliefs. It could be just revealing what they aren't. So for our Naruto example, we have Sasuke. He is not just Naruto's rival, he challenges Naruto's understanding of loneliness, strength, friendship, and recognition. Both Naruto and Sasuke are isolated, but they respond to that isolation differently. Naruto reaches outward, Sasuke turns inward. The contrast makes the relationship more interesting because Sasuke is not just there to compete with Naruto, he forces Naruto to confront what bonds actually mean. And I think their dynamic is interesting because they both have this same feeling of loneliness, not belonging, whereas one person is outwardly searching and hoping and wanting to have that found family feeling, and the other is perfectly fine just being, well, I wouldn't say he's perfectly fine, but he's fine just living his life. He's not turning externally for attention or validation. With that mirror effect of the two, you can compare and contrast the differences between the main character and the side character. And yes, they eventually become rivals, but that dynamic makes it even more impactful because you see how Naruto handles his loneliness and you see how Sasuke handles his. And that contrast of events makes their story and their rivalry even more impactful. The third thing that side characters can do is show an alternate path. Remember, your story is working on multiple levels. It's never just one way of showing a story. So showing an alternate path means that you're using that side character to show a parallel. In this example, Naruto and Gaara. They both have similar starting points. They both are on the same trajectory. However, one character splits and goes more violent while the other decides to help his community. You can use this multiple ways in your storytelling. Depending on where you're trying to get your character to be, you can show the altruistic version or the high version, or you can show what would go wrong if that character took just the slightest step off the course or off the path. So getting back to Gaara and Naruto, like Naruto, Gaara is feared, he is isolated, he has something terrifying inside him. But where Naruto still wants connection, Gaara becomes colder and more violent. Gaara shows a darker version of Naruto's loneliness. He shows what Naruto could have become if he had no bonds, no Iruka, no Team 7, and no one pulling him toward connection. And that reflection of the two characters basically shows you what Naruto could have become if he wasn't surrounded by community. Your character could have someone who had a similar situation and they chose the dark path, or they chose the light path. You can use it either way. So now that you've got your main character, you've got your side characters that are helping construct the full complete picture of your main character, let's talk about character backstory. I think we all love a good backstory, and it always seems that our main character has a tragic backstory, a story that tugs at your heartstrings. But some of our cliche backstories are starting to become overused, where it's like the hero never has parents. For whatever reason, the hero, the main character, their parents are always dead. Their parents have been mysteriously killed, mysteriously missing, non-existent to begin with. They're an orphan. That's a cliche that a lot of people use over and over again. But your backstory shouldn't be a checklist of things that happen to the character. A good backstory should explain what the character wants, what they fear, what they believe, how they behave, and why they make the choices they make. These backstory moments, these backstories should fuel why the character is the way they are in the story you're currently trying to tell. A great backstory is not just what happened to the character. A better question to ask would be, how did the event that happened to the character change how they behave today? A character's past might make them seek attention, avoid trust, chase approval, become controlling, hide their emotions, push away people, protect others too much, act like they don't care. Their backstory should show up in their behavior. It shouldn't be a info dump of general information. Oh, and by the way, I was kidnapped when I was 3, and so now I don't trust people. We should be able to discern in the actions of the character that they don't trust people. And maybe there's a mystery why, but that's something that we know as the writer, the creator, but not necessarily immediately giving that information away to the audience. If we talk about Naruto again, it's really a great example. That's why I keep coming back to it. We know that his backstory is that he was abandoned as a child. He felt rejected and feared by the village. We see how he acts today, which is he's loud, he's daring, he's attention seeking, he's kind of wild. And growing up without parents could obviously lead to those things, but that backstory is shown in his actions today. It's made him who he is today. And the backstory should also connect the desire to the need, the want to the need. Naruto wants to become Hokage, but he needs that attention. He needs that respect. He needs that acceptance and approval from his village. So on the surface level, we're seeing he wants to get this title and position, but on that internal level, he wants to be a part of the community. He wants to be a part of the village. Do you see how the backstory leads one to the next? And I don't know if I need to say this, but I think I'm going to say it anyway, just because I know that a lot of webtoons and webcomics do this. You've built this entire world, you have spent hours, days, months, weeks, years constructing the perfect character, the perfect backstory, the perfect world building, and at the beginning of the story, you get info dump after info dump of all this information. And yes, it probably is relevant to the story, but I don't think you need to give it all away. I think the best stories work, or the best backstories work, when the reader wants to know more. If you're working on a story and you build interesting things within that story, the reader, as they read and learn more, if it's interesting enough, they will ask questions. And as they ask questions, you can feed them slowly some of that backstory. Giving it all away at the beginning, if it clearly stated that Naruto needed love and acceptance and community right from the beginning, we wouldn't wonder what's wrong with this kid. When you construct the backstory for your main character, most of it is for you. It's not for the reader to understand. They might find out later, somewhere in the story, there might be a reason why the reader needs to know this backstory. But for the most part, you are creating the backstory to give you a understanding of your own character, so that way, as you're creating the story, as they come to the obstacles, the problems in their life, you have a North Star that understands that, oh, my character would make this decision because of this thing in their past. The backstory, like I said, it could come out in your story eventually if the readers want it, but to just give away the information without them actually asking for it, most readers will not eat it. It's like trying to give a kid vegetables that they don't like. You can put the vegetables on the plate, you can dress them up with the best seasonings, you can cook them to perfection, but if they don't want those vegetables, they're not going to eat them. But if you strategically make a meal of something that they love, and you strategically make the vegetables a part of it, they're more likely to eat it and enjoy it. You should be seeing now how all of your story elements, your character elements, should be coming together. Your main character, your side characters, your backstories for these characters, and the way they are today, the obstacles that you're putting on their path, everything should be linked together like a spider web. Their desire should move the plot, their need should give the story emotional weight, their backstory should explain their behavior, their side characters should challenge or reveal different parts of them, their specific habits and choices should make them feel real. When all of it works together, the character does not feel like they were dropped into a story. They feel like the story was built to test them. I know that this is a lot of information to take in, and there's even more information because I tried to condense this information as much as I could, but there's even more layers to this in John Truby's book, The Anatomy of Storytelling. I'm going to link it in the description below with an affiliate link, so if you're interested, please check it out. The affiliate link just helps out the channel, helps me out. It'd be cool if you did it. If not, I'm still going to make more videos talking about building characters, but just to put a nice bow on all of this, the biggest takeaways for making characters are these. Give them something they want, give them something they need, let their past affect how they act now, use side characters to reveal or change them, make them specific through behavior, choices and contradictions, and make sure the story actually tests who they are. You don't need to know every single little detail before you start creating, but I think if you use these as a guideline, you're going to make very engaging and interesting characters. And then you use those ideas behind the character to design the character artistically. I asked at the beginning of the video, but I want to ask again, what is your favorite character and why? And if your favorite character is a villain, what is it about that villain that made you overlook their dastardly deeds? Links to all of my comics in the description below, my Patreon, everything. Thank you so much for the support of these videos, and until next time, let's make some progress.